Hi, my name is Parisa Rad, and I'm Yazzy's mom. This seems to be my go-to here lately. My daughter is a medical marijuana patient. She's 15. And just to give you a little bit of history about me and my family, I'm a college graduate from New Mexico State University. I have a marketing background, so my professional career is in marketing. A couple years ago, we moved to the Phoenix area in search of better health care for my special needs, chronically ill now, child. So she's completely blind, she has cerebral palsy, and most recently developed SMA syndrome, which I'll go into a little bit. Oh, I was just going right through all my stuff here.
It's doing a slideshow.
Yeah.
Slideshow with your slideshow.
Right. So, anyways, I just kind of want to share my family's journey and how we ended up with cannabis with a 15-year-old child. So let me go through here. The main things that I want to discuss today are why we chose medical marijuana for my daughter, how we medicate my daughter, which is a huge misconception out there, so I really want to clarify how we're medicating her. And lastly, why we are voting yes for Prop 205. So I'm going to show you a little clip of Yazzie, just to kind of give you a little idea of where we've been and what we've kind of gone through that's led us here. Oops, okay, sorry guys. This is on my computer. All right. Okay, me and my technical difficulties. I just need to push one button to get that to play. And media, why? No.
Be a tech person.
Right. Oh,
Can I
that's
right
a
click on it? I
real,
don't know, I have no clue.
that's a real bummer. Well, it's not, doesn't seem to be working. It's a pretty cute little video of her too. Let me see if I can exit out of here and just do it without the slide. There, maybe this will make it. Cannot play media. That is a total bummer. Okay, well, I'll kind of just go over then what she's been through. So, 2 years ago, my daughter was diagnosed with extreme scoliosis, as you can see. Her back on the left is what her back looked like. And then she had a spinal fusion surgery, corrective surgery, and that's what her back looks like now. So they placed a lot of metal rods in her back. So her qualifying DX for medical marijuana is her chronic pain. But the scary thing that actually happened, and didn't even lead us to medical marijuana yet, was the severe complication that arose after the surgery, which was attributed to the opiates that they prescribed her for surgery. So had there been a medical marijuana available to her, or even as an option posed by any of her doctors, we may have never ended up with this very life-threatening condition. So superior mesenteric artery syndrome is what my daughter has. It's quite a mouthful, so we call it SMA syndrome. In a nutshell, what that means is her lower intestine collapsed after the surgery, and she was unable to eat anything, including water. You can think how devastating this is for not only a blind special needs child, but one that just went through a horrific surgery such as spinal fusion. So we spent a whole summer, almost an entire summer at Phoenix Children's Hospital. It was days where we had no idea if she was going to make it. They didn't even know how to diagnose her at that time. It was really scary, to say the least. We were finally omitted from the hospital, and we went on for another year, unable to get her to eat. She was down to 60 pounds. She was literally withering away, and nothing was working. They were treating my daughter as a guinea pig, trying several different medications. Nothing was working. Out of desperation, like I'm sure many other parents would research the internet and try to find anything to maybe possibly help their child. We came across cannabis, and although it's not something that's widely used for chronic pain in pediatric patients, it is used for cancer patients who suffer from lack of appetite and nausea, which she does have. It also helps with several other it has amazing other benefits to her too, which has been life-changing for us. Just to kind of give you an idea, Yazzy's only been on medical marijuana for less than a year, and she is off all of her pharmaceuticals. So that means painkillers, muscle relaxers, anxiety medication, depression medication, and they even were prescribing my daughter anorexia medication to try to get her to stimulate her appetite somehow. Nothing was working. So even sleeping. It's remarkable if you look at the chart. I don't know if you can kind of read everything here, but this plant provides so many benefits. And like a lot of parents, I was scared. THC, oh my God, no, I can't give my kid that. So we started with CBD, which is a little bit more socially acceptable. It has a non-psychoactive effect. And CBD wasn't effective enough for her. Unfortunately, her pain is so deep, and we're talking, she's got nerve damage. So the topical creams, the tinctures just weren't working enough for her. So we did move up and kind of graduate to a very low THC and high CBD products. So we're still not getting my daughter high. She's just feeling better, and she's acting like a normal teenager, and she's able to play with her little sister and go to outings and meet Justin Bieber because she's a Make-A-Wish kid, and a couple months ago was able to meet her idol thanks to Make-A-Wish, and she wouldn't have been able to survive the entire concert had it not been for her medical cannabis. So I'm very thankful for that because she got to fully experience the entire day. And anyways, so one of the biggest problems though is that this medication is not covered under her insurance. All of the other plethora of pharmaceuticals that I named earlier are, and they were harming her, they were doing her less good, they weren't helping in any means. So it's unfortunate that families like us have to pay twice as much just to carry a medical card. And that's not even including the medication, and that's not including the tons of medication you have to go through to find the right dosage, the right amount. You know, it's like you're treating your child as a guinea pig too, because there's not enough information out there for us parents. So I was inspired to start a nonprofit organization that is specifically designed for pediatric chronic pain patients, helping provide them with startup scholarships so they can afford their card, they can afford the medication, the devices that go along with it. There's just a lot of costs that are involved. You know, people question my decision to put my daughter on cannabis. Obviously, I wouldn't choose to spend an extra $600 out of pocket every month. I'd much rather have her insurance pay it in full. But this is working, and the other stuff wasn't. So, let's see here. So, the nonprofit that we're starting up is called Healing Families, and we're supporting pediatric chronic pain patients, providing financial scholarships as well as cannabis education and advocacy. I'm also on the board with MomForce, and that's what we strive to do as well as mothers in our community, is educate the public about the health benefits of cannabis. So bring me to my next slide. I want to debunk some of the crazy stigmas that are out there. Again, being a mother of a pediatric patient, there's a lot of stigmas out there that I'm lighting my daughter's joint. One of the craziest things that a friend of mine actually asked me was, is Yazzie a pothead now? And I'm like, no. She's a canna kid. And there's several kids that can benefit from this medication. I mean, we're talking anyone from special needs to autism, I mean, anything, seizures, you know, there's so many of her classmates that could benefit from this medication. But are there families willing to dish out $600 to just try? I mean, we're lucky that we had a support system and people in our lives that educated us and made us feel confident enough to dish out that money, and we were desperate enough. But if we were to legalize and pass Prop 205, there'd be so many more families that would have access to this medication and be able to try it on their children and say, hey, maybe I don't need to go this deadly pharmaceutical route, and I can do something that's more natural and benefit my child. So, let's see here. So there's lots of ways to administer medication for children. Cannabis oil is one of our most popular go-tos because you can use this with a tea, you can cook with it, you can, in fact she has capsules that have the cannabis oil, and so she takes a capsule just like any of us would take a capsule for any of our other pharmaceutical drugs, and she ingests it. So this is an idea of like what some of our cannabis pills look like. These are some of our, we have several products that we use, as she has several issues. I mentioned not only is she completely blind, but she has cerebral palsy, and she's got issues that cause other discomfort and pain, as well as GI issues. So we do use a CBD oil that goes on her back. It's a topical cream that helps alleviate some of the discomfort in her back. Although it's not strong enough, we do still supplement that with additional products that are low in THC. So again, my daughter's not getting high, she's not acting funny or kooky in any way, she's acting like a normal teenage kid, or maybe younger, maybe her more cognitive age level, but she's able to play again and interact and participate in class events and home events, and it's been life-changing for us. A child that was bedbound is now able to participate and do things like typical kids. This patch over here is really neat because that's something that you can just, real discreet, you can put it on we put it on her wrist, and that's supposed to be having like a long lasting effect for her, so we don't have to medicate as often. Although these patches are ridiculously expensive, so we're unfortunately not able to use them as much as we'd like. So this is just kind of an idea of how we administer meds. So if you have an oil, you can easily ingest it. Again, not lighting up any type of joint for my daughter. The reason we actually stumbled upon medical cannabis was because my daughter was on a juicing regimen because she was not eating, and we were trying to find any other way to get her additional nutrients. So I'm looking at what are the best vegetables to juice, what has the most packed antioxidants and all these different great things that she needs, and I found cannabis. Oh wow, so we could juice cannabis, I was thinking. So I was so excited when we got our card. I thought, oh man, we're gonna be able to get these leaves. And I went to the first place and I said, you are really misinformed, ma'am. You cannot buy the leaves. So another big reason I'm in support of Prop 205 is with this passing, I can grow my own leaves and I can juice those for my daughter. And honestly, our family, we can all benefit from this plant, and again, non-psychoactive, so we're not going to get high from juicing the plant. Under the current laws, growing is still prohibited, even with a medical marijuana card. Several people have told me now that I'm speaking out in the community, well, you have a card, can't you grow? No, I can't, because I live within the city limits. As long as you live so many miles from a dispensary, you're unable to grow. So we would have to move to the middle of nowhere to be able to grow, which would just isolate us as an entire family, and honestly, we wouldn't be able to do that. So, again, medical marijuana is not covered under your health insurance plan. So why not let food be thy medicine? Let's all grow it and juice it and get healthier together. I mean, I think that's one of the biggest reasons I'm for Prop 205. It's because it's going to benefit all of us. So yep, I'm voting yes on Prop 205 so we can have access to growing our own medicine safely and more affordably. That's big. Again, we're spending over $600 a month on the medication out of pocket. Under Prop 203, each patient is allowed one caregiver. This is huge for families. If you have a pediatric patient, only one parent can be the caregiver. So that leaves the other parent possibly, if pulled over, they could face jail time, possibly a felony for simply possessing their child's medication. This is an incident that has happened in our own home. Her father was traveling. I forgot her bag of medication, like many of us might do if we go by Walgreens and pick up our pharmaceuticals. We'll leave something in the car, and I forgot about it. He got pulled over, and luckily, the law enforcement officer was understanding enough, but that may not be the case all the time. I mean, he could have lost his job, and where would that have put us? Again, not able to afford those medications, that's for sure. And I don't feel like that we're doing anything wrong by simply medicating our child with a plant. So this is a big issue, especially for caregivers as well. I have my mother who helps care for my daughter. I think many special needs parents have several caregivers. It takes an army, they say, to raise a family or a child, and with a special needs child, they have a lot more needs. So there's several people that work with my daughter, but it's unfortunate that none of them can administer her medication but me. So I literally have to go to her school every day. I have to sign her out of school. I have to drive her across school grounds and then administer her pill and then go back and sign her into school. Now, if something happens to me, who's going to be able to administer her medication? By law, her dad can't go by and administer it. Her grandmother can't. None of our respite or HAB providers can either. So this is a big problem to me.
But the school nurse can, I just need to interrupt, the school nurse can administer albuterol to an asthmatic who's having an attack, but
sure,
you know.
yeah, exactly. And the thing is, I even have support from the school nurses, and they said, we know this is crazy, and helping Nancy, we can see her improve.
It's free for madness.
But our hands are tied, based on our current laws. So again, why I'm voting yes on Prop 205. I'm voting yes because I don't believe someone should be subject to a felony charge for simply possessing a plant that happens to help my daughter and so many other suffering children. Luckily our family was able to come up with the $600, but why, again, I'm looking to work with Healing Families and getting these scholarships for these families is because not everybody has extra $600 just to possess a card.
Well, one question, I
Yes.
missed that. So you had to pay for her card and you had to get a separate caretaker card
Exactly.
to be able to take care of her, even though
Exactly,
she's a
because
minor?
my blind 15-year-old can't drive to a dispensary and order her own medication.
So even
but
though she's
I'm
a
subject-
minor,
Exactly,
wow.
yeah, really crazy. Yeah. So, I guess I just want to end with this little patriotic video, if it'll even play, because none of my videos are playing today, but we'll see. Oh, nope, can't play. Okay, well, that's unfortunate. Anyway, so these are the reasons we're voting yes on Prop 205. And although many of you don't have children that happen to need medical cannabis, I think that opening up the opportunity for those who do need it is very important. And so, you don't have to be a consumer to see the need in our community for it. So I hope that you all will vote yes. If you have any questions, just let me know.
Yeah.